I'm not sure what to say except I'm extremely happy because woo, windscreen in the car. Um, this piece of glass, this whole thing has been a bit of a nightmare, and not the actual occurrences today, as in not the windscreen going in, but since I broke the original screen, what is it, 7-10 days ago? Yeah, it's been a kind of a roller coaster. I was in the UK, as you know. Michael, patron Michael, a massive thanks to him, because he picked up a screen that I found on eBay, the only one that was available on eBay, and he picked it up for me and was going to bring it up about 2.5 hours drive to the top of Wales to meet me, and I was going to try and get it home in one piece as a foot passenger on the ferry. Turns out the screen wasn't as billed, and what I was told in the end was that we were given the wrong one. They knocked one of the contacts for the heated elements off the side of the screen, and then kind of, with Michael, kind of glossed over it, said, oh, you can solder that back on, but no, you can't. But on top of that, it was delaminating, which Michael didn't notice till he got it home. So I sent it back, and I came home empty-handed, and it would have been a fairly nervous trip home anyway. Yesterday I made an 8-hour round trip. I went to Tipperary, which, as we all know, is a very long way.
It's a long way.
And it was only about 2.5-3 hours down, but it took me 4 hours on the way back, 5 hours nearly, because the first 20-25 kilometers were on back roads, and I did about 15 miles an hour. The guy, a lovely fella, a Land Rover contact that I've had going way back, but I never thought to call about it because he was just so far away. He gave me those 2 tires. We propped up the screen in the back of an estate car with those 2 tires and as much foam as I could get my hands on, and I made it back in one piece, and it is now in the car because a really cool guy, one of us, and I mean one of us in the sense that he's not a classic car guy, but if you look, it's been one of these days where it's sun, rain, sun, rain, sun, rain. You can see over there probably big black clouds, and it'll be probably raining again in half an hour. He just kept working, you know. And actually I should say that for the people who are in more kind of accommodating climates, there are certain things in Ireland that if you stopped because it started raining, you wouldn't get a hell of a lot done. So anyway, it turns out, I hadn't noticed this, all I knew that when I got it, it's very obviously in very good nick. And all the little connectors and everything were in very good nick. They're taped up there, you can kind of see, and there's one here. It's actually a Pilkington piece of glass, so it's not. It's a replacement piece of glass. It came out of an LSE Range Rover, which is a very special model they made towards the end of the production run of the classic Range Rover. It's like a limousine version. This rear door would be, I can't remember how many inches longer it is, but you get into the back of one of these and it's got huge legroom, a much longer car. Anyway, the glass is in and I'm on cloud 9 because it really is now all I have to do is start pinning this car back together. Really, I mean, I get the sunroof sorted and back in, get the roof back on properly, and then put the interior into the car. And I swore to myself I wouldn't try and start it until the interior was back in, because I have a few little bits to do. I took some of the engine apart right at the beginning. You might have noticed in some of the shots in the last episode that there's no plenum chamber, there's no fueling on the top of the engine, so that has to go back on, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to go off and try and get the rest of this day, make the rest of this day productive, because it literally, this guy was here, he arrived at about 10 to 10 this morning and he left at about 2:30. There you go. Now we did a lot of talking, but he never really stopped working, and it's a lovely job, and it's full of all the right products, all the right sealants and all the right bedding compounds and all that kind of stuff. So like, if this thing leaks, there's something seriously wrong. But he even, up here where myself and my buddy had tried to put the last screen in, my buddy, I didn't notice, but I presume it was his wedding ring, he'd gouged all the paint, and this guy today, Anthony, even had this special very durable black primer for doing this kind of thing, and he touched in all the paint and it was dry in kind of 10-15 minutes and seemed very, like I say, durable. So I was chuffed with that. It's such a good job, and you'll see it in the episode. It's such a good job. I shot, as they say in very technical terms, I shot the shit out of it. So hopefully I can piece together a cool bit on windscreens. He's also, I said this already, this guy, he's not even the guy I spoke to initially. He's not the owner of the company. He's the kind of troubleshooting kind of A1 guy. He's so full of knowledge, and I'm trying to twist his arm to do an interview with us, because the stuff he told me straight away, I want to say, and I won't say this in the episode because I'm not about one-upmanship or anything like that. Everything I did, my instincts were right. The method I used is the correct method for this type of rubber and this type of windscreen. So I broke it just because of not having the skills and not having the kind of experience, and I did a few little things wrong, but the basic methodology to what I was doing was correct, which I was kind of happy to hear. There are a number of different types of rubber, there are a number of different types of screen, and I'm not talking about laminate and toughened, I mean in terms of how they're put in and all that kind of stuff. So I was just absolutely enthralled when he started talking, and I want to try and bring that, so fingers crossed that we can get him. There's one other thing, I'm going to sign off about this, but I shot an update while I was in the UK. It's a story that I haven't brought yet because I'm still trying to round it out. It's a really cool story about a group of guys who get together and go on driving trips, and so that's what I was doing. They invited me on one this time last year. This last weekend was my third time on a trip with them. I went to Spa and the Nürburgring Spa Classic with them just in September gone, and I'll go again in September coming. They have beautiful cars. They don't muck about. They drive fast, these guys. They've got a great guy at the core of them that puts it all together, organises it, books everything early so it's as cheap as it can possibly be, and they drive, and they really drive. But I'm gonna play in now this little update I did the last time, and I'll talk to you a bit at the end of it because I didn't really tell much story about it, and I want to do that. So here you go. Okay, I won't stay on too long, but what I'm doing in the UK, I'm in Wales right now, and I'm with a group of guys that I met last year, and I've been on, this is the third trip, but I'll just show you. Now, you've got 5 Evoras, Lotus Evoras, a supercharged Elise, that silver one, the titanium coloured thing, that's what I'm in. An M6, a Jaguar F-Type, a Smart Roadster. This thing leads us, and admirably so. And that Aston DBS, that's a prototype. The world hasn't seen that car yet, so this is a patron exclusive. What about that? I'm gonna show you, I'm getting laughed at here, but look, check it out. Nice, right? Anyway, I'm not going to stay on. I'm doing a vlog. I'm doing a vlog for my patrons. That's Darlin. Wave, Darlin. Anyway, we're just on a driving trip. These are really good guys. Actually, keep this. Don't share this video with anybody, please, because I'm taking liberties here, and these guys, most of them are motor industry guys. Most of these guys work for Lotus, Aston Martin, there's a Tesla guy. So they're really cool guys, really interesting. There's somebody from every walk of life here, and there's some really cool cars. That's it, I'll see you soon. Okay, I didn't do that little smart guy. We tease him so badly about it. Is technically a Brabus Roadster because it's the Brabus version. And as he says, there are more Brabus badges on it than there are smart badges. But we tease him so badly about the car, but the fact of the matter is that car, it lashed rain that whole weekend, okay? So 720 horsepower in the Aston Martin was kind of useless. But even on the wet day, the smart car is incredibly quick. 0 to 60 on those things is just, and I mean just under 10 seconds. So it's not actually a quick car. It's only 660cc, but they handle well. The real drawback of them is the gearbox. It's kind of laggy. It's a sequential thing, but it's quite slow to change. But Jim is a deadly driver, and the car is very capable. So you're talking about B roads. He will set a pace that everyone more or less is happy with, and it's a good pace. I forgot to say, he has a Lotus Evora. The smart car is his little fun thing, and he takes it on the small domestic trip sometimes if, you know, it's only a 2-dayer or something like that, and he sets a pace, and you won't hit a pothole when he's out riding. He's kind of that good. By the way, he also street views the whole route, like everything's planned out, so we know the route, but he will street view a route to make sure, there's the rain, he will street view a route to make sure it's picturesque and the roads are good and challenging and fun. So you see these guys kind of, they have a lot of fun, but they do take the driving very seriously. And one of the things I noticed is, compared to Ireland, I think because of the motoring history in the UK, people are much more tolerant of 8 or 10 or 12 fast cars going fast. Whereas in Ireland you'd probably have the police would be called, I would say. But there you go. I've met these guys now 3 times. They're a great bunch, just normal fellas. A lot of them are motor industry guys, and that was the cool thing, is that they are actually in the industry. So the Aston Martin is a prototype from Aston Martin. It's last year's, I got that wrong by the way, it's last year's prototype for the Super Leggera. It was the final prototype. So you've got in car manufacturing a number of prototypes, and each one fulfills, I think, different aspects of the design of the build, until you get to the last ones, which are essentially road cars, you know. And that car there, I think, is a press car now, or will be a press car, but just a stunning thing. So there's Aston guys, there are Lotus guys, there's a Tesla guy, but all of them know each other from being in the industry going back, and a lot of them would have worked together, and then there's friends that get added in. Anyway, I'm rambling, and it's going to rain again. It's gotten very dark. I just wanted to show you that little update, tell you about the windscreen, and tell you that I'm back on it now. And like I said, I think the last time, I have been over this car now. There's nowhere really, even if there was something now, it would be probably relatively minor, and something I could probably deal with later on if something crops up. I think we're at a point now that when I put the car back together, we should be okay to get a test and get a tax and start driving and get the hell back on the Esprit. So fingers crossed for that. Yeah, send out the good vibes. Hopefully we're good. And I am so chuffed. I'm so happy. Anyway, I'll see you soon.